Hello and all, welcome to another episode of MMA Vision Analysis. Justin Gaethje wants to avenge his loss against Habib Nurmagomedov by fighting and defeating Islam Makhachev. We're going to talk about the possibility of this happening. Gaethje's realistically a fight away from a title shot. He beats Dan Hooker. My personal opinion, he gets to face champion of the division. We're going to talk about the possibility of this happening sometime this year. Before you get started, make sure to like, subscribe, click that notification to get all of this that is new from this channel, your channel, the one and only MMA Vision Analysis. Justin Gaethje set to face Dan Hooker. UFC 313, that's going to be the co-main event. That's going to be in March, I want to say. Obviously, prior to UFC 300, Gaethje was looked at as the number one contender. Unfortunately for him, he lost his BMF title, the fight, and the number one contender spot all on the same night. That night, UFC 300. Let's see. Quite some time later, UFC 300. I don't remember when that was precisely, but let's say at least 6 or 7 months later, Gaethje's back in action, UFC 313 against Dan Hooker. One would think that if Gaethje gets past Dan Hooker, he gets a title shot. Best case scenario for Gaethje, he beats Dan Hooker. Let's say UFC 300, depending on how that fight ends. I say that a lot because that determines the duration of the break needed for the next fight. So what am I trying to say here? If this fight finished quickly, which it might not, I'm talking about Gaethje and Hooker, then we can possibly see Gaethje versus Islam Makhachev, let's say sometime September of this year, which gives Gaethje and Islam another few months to prepare for that fight. I think this is a very, very, very realistic option. Arman Tsarukyan, I know that name is going to be brought up. To be honest, I don't know. If Gaethje gets past Dan Hooker, then Arman Tsarukyan will not be challenging for that title next. I think it was mentioned, I want to say by Dana White. It was not the first time that Tsarukyan, for whatever reason, couldn't make it to a fight against champion of the division. So I wouldn't imagine he's going to be getting a shot next just because it looks bad if he doesn't make it again, right? So that might happen, but I think the more realistic option is the winner of Gaethje Hooker, especially if Gaethje wins that fight, then he gets the challenge for that title next. Or maybe he even challenges Tsarukyan, and then it's so crazy what's happening with Arman Tsarukyan, in all honesty, and I just don't know what the end story is with this dude. He's probably just waiting for Islam to vacate that title and go up to that division. With no disrespect to Tsarukyan here, but he was the number one contender. I want to say that he lost that opportunity, and now we're looking at the Gaethje Dan Hooker fight to produce the number one contender for Islam Makhachev. And more than likely, it's going to be Gaethje if he wins. He's going to be the one challenging for a title. I think that's fair. I think it's a phenomenal fight. I think that Gaethje gives Islam the most difficult time out of anybody in that lightweight division, with all respect to anybody else, including Arman Tsarukyan. But if this fight was to happen, it would be a dream fight. If you made it this far, I appreciate it. For sticking around, please let me know what you think in the comments. Like, subscribe for more.